Previously on Story Hoard.
Beware of those teachers of yours. Their unaging reign is due to be interrupted.
Years would go by between me finding these relics, and the more I tried to research into them, the more I realized that there's no record of where this might have come from. There was a kingdom, and a monarch, and a plan. That plan is failing.
Do you really think that any of us are within our depth here?
A god from where I came from put a curse on the land and everything in it to become sand.
Soldier's just gonna run out the door. They have no concept of what's going on around them right now.
The only magic I know how to do is this. He accidentally does Thunderclap.
And waiting on the doorstep of each of your homes is a letter sealed with wax.
Does someone want to tell me what the fuck is going on?
We have 3 months before the monarch accumulates enough power from within the seal to break out into this world. And when they do, it will be the end of things. No more secrets. You are in. You are a part of this. And we're trusting you. You three are all sitting at the edge of the estates, at the top of the staircase. You've been dismissed by your teachers for the day to prepare yourselves for the journey that is to come. Where are y'all going?
Well, I know you two are fine with wearing the same outfit for the past 2 weeks or whatever we've known each other, but I'm not too keen on being covered in clay for much longer, so bye?
Yeah. Bye.
The soldier looks down at their own clay-ridden clothes, because they got knocked around a lot by that clay golem. I'm gonna go to the river.
I'll join you.
Ugh. Mateo, you're going home. The two of you are going to the river. Soldier and Mamori, you make your way down the staircase as Mateo heads off towards his home on the other side of town. You make your way through the town center, headed towards the river that cuts through the settlement. You get yourselves cleaned, washed off. The town center is still waking up this time of day. You can see some shops opening. You can smell Fistia's bakery getting up and running from across the town. You can see some of the day workers heading to the fields to get the day's chores started there. It's fairly uneventful. As you're walking through town, you can see a couple of trusty townspeople, a couple of old-timers playing cards that Soldier you're familiar with. Mamori, you see just the backside of Avis as he's rounding through to the residential section, making deliveries for Thistia already. He's been doing that the last couple of days as he's been trying to figure out what to do next. You see all of this activity going on around you, and you guys eventually make your way to the river near the South Bridge.
All right, Mamori unloads, probably more weapons than you would expect on her, and, a bundle of, papers and stuff, and she dives into the river.
Sildra's gonna cannonball after her.
Oh, and it's so refreshing. This is you can already feel in the air it's going to be a warm summer day, and the water is just cold enough that it lights you up from the inside, but it's not freezing. It's just, ooh, what a dip, ooh.
Apocalypse worries here. Just clean, refreshing her water. No one here is worried about apocalypse or secrets or,
Is Mamori saying this out loud?
No, this is me.
In a little accent.
I know the accent wasn't there, but I wanted it to be true.
You needed to know. Yes. Yeah, that's fair. No, Mori is like, she's not saying anything. There's a lot of processing to go on right now.
Mm.
Sildra's like spending a lot of time just keeping their head under the water. Occasionally you'll see little bubbles come up and you start to get worried and then they pop up. And then as soon as they get their breath back, they just go back down again.
The two of you enjoy each other's company in this river this quiet morning, letting the events of the past hour or so wash over you, wash the clay out of your clothes and hair. And as you're waiting around, floating, you see a fishing lure drop between the two of you from the bridge overhead. And you look up, and Sildra, you see Hiram tips his hat to you and goes about his fishing routine, not really caring that the two of you are down there.
Psst, hey, Sildra.
Yeah.
I don't know how fishing works, I'll be honest. But, do you think he's really gonna catch anything right now? Because, like, I'm pretty sure us splashing, we just scared all the fish away. What kind of fish are in this river? Maybe I should start with that.
I mean, depends on time of year. Kevin says very quickly while she looks up Greek fishes.
Minos.
Minnows.
To each their own, I suppose. This is not the fishing spot I would have picked, but, cool.
I mean, you're not really gonna get anything for dinner. Not here. Just because most of the fishes here are pretty small, which is why we're a farming town, not a fishing town, but, it passes the time.
Oh, ain't that the truth, bud? Hey, while you two are down there, and he's now kind of calling down at you, he's like, do me a favor. Just lift up an arm, and if you got a spare leech on there, toss it up. I need some bait.
Well, Mori checks her arms.
Sildra gives a casual thumbs up.
Mori finds a leech on her ankle and tosses it at Hiram.
Hell yeah.
I'm gonna roll to see if there's any leeches on Sildra.
You have to roll for that.
Just
Undecided.
No, just to the side.
What is the low roll? What is the high roll?
There's 18 leeches on Sildra.
Poor
And then Sildred is a blood loss.
They'll look down and they don't really see anything yet, so they'll just keep an eye out for now.
He gives you a nod and gives you Memoria a grateful nod in turn with the new bait for his hook as he gets himself situated and casts his line again. Beautiful day. They really don't get much better than this, you two, So what are you up to? Mid-morning dip, a little, some exciting work. I can respect it. Yeah, I'm here doing my own hard work. It ain't easy, but someone's got to do it.
Yeah, just working hard. Unfortunately, they go back underwater.
He picks out a piece of straw from his back pocket and kind of starts chewing on it. He's, again, fairly chill, minding his own business, just kind of watching you guys from above as he lazily pulls his line back and forth.
This is so creepy.
He's chilling! And you guys are in his fishing spot.
So sorry I forced
Right
this
here?
situation to happen because Mateo wanted to run errands.
You guys wanted to swim and you're not talking to each other. You're stuck with Fish Boy now.
Well, Mori's getting real uncomfortable. She's gonna go find her stuff and leave, I think. Because,
Sildra's just gonna relax underwater and let the current take him downstream.
dear God.
Like they pop their head up for air and suddenly they're 20 feet away from you.
Yeah.
I thought I was like, Mamori face plants in the water. That was the line I had in my head. That was all I expected this scene to be. Ugh.
No, Mamori. Mamori, you get out of the water. You're done with this. This has been already kind of a stressful morning, and this little quiet spot that you're hoping to have to clean off and unwind has been intruded upon by some guy that you don't know or really care to be around. And as you asking for leeches, and as you hoist yourself up out of the water, he simultaneously draws his line back and manages to accidentally splash your pile of papers with a big splash of water as the leech flies off and is flopping around on your stuff. And he says, oops, sorry about that, miss. Here, let me just grab that.
No, that's totally fine. Mamori, like, grabs the soaked papers before he gets a chance and, like, shoves them back into her coat. It's totally okay. Stupid idea to bring these to a river.
Oh, I mean, everyone needs some light reading every once in a while. You know, I've got some trusty little poems I keep in my tackle box. You know, whenever the mood strikes you, you know. So you got to keep those essential readings on you. You never know when they're gonna help out.
Are you a poet?
Me? Oh God, no. No.
Smiles awkwardly.
Yeah. No, I'm not a poet. No, I can't read. I just kind of like, I just like keeping them by. I know they mean something important, and sometimes that's all that matters.
Wait. Come on, you, but read them?
Well, it's about the reflection, you know. So, someone already did the heavy lifting and thinking for me, and sometimes when I need a reminder to do that, you know, you get your little sheet of poetry, and you look at it, and you think, yeah.
Cool. I think this is calling me actually. Bye. Mamori like walks down the river towards the direction Sildar was floating, in the opposite direction of town.
Hiram tips his hat at you.
Thoroughly weirded out.
Oh my God. Sildar, you're just floating there?
Just floating.
Okay.
Just not like floating on top of the water, just like spreading their arms out underwater and letting the current take them.
Mm.
Yeah, Mamori's walking alongside the riverbank next to you, like welshing because she's super wet. But I don't want our characters to all separate again. This is so much.
Yeah, that was a lot.
Like I don't. I mean, yes, we might not be saying anything, but Mamori doesn't really feel like dealing with this alone right now.
Mm.
I think there's something to be said about just quiet company processing together.
Yes, which I was fine with doing before Hiram showed up with his poetry that he carries around, but read or look at or write.
Oh, you just found out about that?
Yeah, your friend is super weird. Like, not for nothing, but like, Mamori like shuffles something around in her cloak. Yeah, why? Why?
Soldier just kind of shrugs. Why not?
Oh, normally you keep things on you that are important or whatever.
Well, you don't have to have a use for something for it to be important. Could just be sentimental. I mean, is everything that you wear because it serves a purpose?
Oh, yeah, where else am I gonna put my snacks? Like, there's not much room for anything else.
Soldier kind of holds up their fish hook necklace. This doesn't serve a purpose. I just thought it was shiny.
Yeah, I guess that makes sense, right? What about your fishing rod?
I mean, it's fun. doesn't mean that everything has to be like the fishing rod. Sometimes things can just be things.
True. I don't know, you just seem lost without it.
They don't really look up at you anymore when you say that. They kind of start looking at the river and then they just dunk their head back under. You poked them too hard! Not enough lead up. But they do have to come back up for air eventually, so you can poke them again.
Sildra goes back under the water, leaving you, Momori, to kind of shuffle through the soaking wet papers that you managed to rescue from Hiram's gross leech. And as you're thumbing through them, you're trying to shake the water off, and you can see some of the ink starting to run. And as you let them dry out in one hand, your hand starts to fiddle with the knife you keep in your side pocket as the thoughts of home start flooding back to you. It is a beautiful spring day in your village. You can hear laughter and the ladies of the town cooing after your friend Io as she's running around doing something, getting into some nonsense. And you're watching from under the tree outside your grandfather's forge, just enjoying the day. You hear the sound of laughter and birdsong and the repeated hits of your grandfather's hammer from inside his workshop. And he calls you in. And this is not an outstanding occurrence. You've worked in his shop before, but he seems eager. You go into his workshop and you can see it is kept in pristine condition as always. Everything in its place as it should be. Each project lined up with careful consideration where they land in each stage of their creation. And you can see he's hunched over his forge with a very determined look on his face. And he looks up at you and he gives a big smile. He says, "Ah, there you are, my girl. Come here. Help your papa with this." He brings you over carefully to the space he's working on, where on one side of his table you see detailed plans for a beautiful, elegant knife. And you see the makings of that knife directly in front of him. He says, "Momori, my girl, this knife is going to be a gift. A gift for a very, very important person. And I need your help to make it perfect."
All right, Bubba. What do you need me to do?
Here. He hands you his small utilitarian pocket knife, and he says, "I need just a hair from your perfect head."
That's weird. But okay.
He chuckles at that, and as you take a small lock of hair and hand it back over to him, he drops it in his crucible that he's using to create the metal that will become the blade. He says, Yes. See, this blade, it was going to be pretty good. It was always going to be a fine blade, but now it will be perfect. Perfect enough for a god.
But why did you need hair, Bubba?
He smiles and puts a hand to your cheek, Momori, and he says, "Oh, because it's a part of you, my dear. You are the secret something that will make this blade shine. It will only be the best for the god of our kingdom. Just you wait, my dear. They will not see anything quite like this. This will be perfect, because it will be a piece of you."
Momori sighs. Oh, he's so dramatic.
One day you will appreciate the finer things, my dear. One day. Now, how would you like to maybe help me out with a few of the other pieces?
Momori grins.
And he hands you a smaller hammer and a pair of leather gloves as the two of you get to work on the rest of his commissions. Mateo, you make your way to your home on the other side of town from the teacher's estates, looking to change, get out of these like gross clay-caked clothes, so that you can go about getting ready for this big mission that you're going out on. And as you make your way to your home, you pass by the temple and you can hear some not unexpected temple commotions going on, some singing, some debating. You can see, just passing by, Sedaris looking as wet dog as usual, going about his chores. You see Rami's dad kind of following him, trying to hold a conversation as Sedaris looks very clearly like he doesn't want to be bothered right now. He's at work. He doesn't want to be chatting with a customer. But you make your way past the temple as this is happening and get home to clean yourself up. Your mom's not home. It's a fairly empty house.
Okay, well, here's the thing. So Mateo's not going through the front door anyway because, like, of the chance mom is here. So he goes around to the back of the house, and he has a window that's kind of high up, but not obnoxious. If you were tall, you'd be able to reach it, but Mateo's not tall. So he gets out a little, like, stepping stool box from behind a bush, and he gets up on it and, like, gets in through the window and pulls himself in, which, like, gets him onto his bed, and then he gets into a different outfit, looks in the mirror, puts on one earring, and he doesn't, like, the earring, like, doesn't go through all the way at first, because it's been a while. He forces it through, and he's like, okay, good enough. And now he's gonna head over to the market for some shopping.
Sure.
Or some eggs.
Nah, I don't need any eggs.
Are you sure? You're going on a long trip. You might need provisions. I'm just saying, they got pickled eggs if you need them. Travel safe.
Ew.
You hate my pickled eggs.
I just don't like eggs, and neither does Mateo. Going shopping.
Yeah. Yes. You're going shopping, and you make your way to the market on the other side of town. The market is picking up. You can see people getting ready for the day. Some people socializing. Some people opening up shop. And there's a number of markets that are open now for you to swing by. You can smell the bakery already up and cooking for the day. You can see a few smaller out-of-town traders setting up in the kind of trader's circle. There are a few other stalls and apothecaries that are open for general, like, everyday goods and needs, fancy CVS kind of stuff.
Beautiful.
Where are you headed? What are you looking for?
Is anyone selling, like, weapons?
Yes, it's a smaller kind of booth. Not terribly fancy, but it's connected to a workshop of sorts. Really, it's the only other weapon shop in town outside of Zephyrius's Forge, but it is the one that's more frequented because of its, frankly, much more pleasant shop owner. The owner is smiling as he's kind of polishing up some of the wares on display. It's an assortment of short swords and knives and sheaths, some leather holsters, a handful of just different weapon types. You got slingshots, you've got crossbows, you've got anything you could possibly be looking for on, like, a traveler's budget, so to say. He's not going to sell you a cannon, but if you're going out on the road, there's equipment for you.
Hey, what are those crossbows looking like?
In terms of price or in terms of description?
Well, I want, so what I'm looking for is something, like, that I can use one-handed.
Let's see. A one-handed crossbow. Is that it? And the shopkeeper starts kind of rummaging through, and he's got a few types. Certainly ones that would be two-handed for you that could potentially be one-handed for someone, a little bit bigger. He kind of is weighing them in his hands as far as trying to see. He hands you off one model with some dark ebony with some fine gold finishings on it. He's like, it's a more stylish piece. It's smaller, but it'll do the job. Launches from here, and he starts kind of showcasing the different mechanisms. This is the lightweight model. If you're looking for something with a little bit more oomph to it, and he finds another model a little bit heavier this time, a little bit harder to wield, probably one-handed for an extended period of time. This one painted a lovely dark wine color, again with small gold accents adorning it. It says, it's your preference. Have you wielded before?
I mean, I know how to shoot one of these things, yeah.
Okay, well then, whatever feels most natural in the grip, Take your aim, feel the weight. May I ask what you're preparing for?
I just thought I could have something for traveling, just security purposes.
Of course. You never know what you're going to find on the road out there these days. I mean, between the bandits and the scavengers, it's...
Mateo, points at the dark red one. That one looks good.
Well, it's a fine choice. Only the nicest, most supple of our regional pine variant, This is, they don't grow 'em like this much these days, but if you find a good grove, and it'll take you far. He gets the crossbow dressed up for you, packages it nicely for you to take along. And will you be needing any bolts? And he throws a few arrows in there for good customer service.
Well, yes, I would like more than a couple, I guess.
Okay. You get the 5 complimentary, and then let's see. Are you feeling 10, 15? He laughs. He's like, exactly how much danger are you expecting to be when you're out on the road? Are you expecting, a day trip? Or are you expecting a longer, more treacherous trip? Because I've got some very exciting bolts here. And he starts laying out a few with different arrowheads, some with small fuses on the end, some with extra hooks.
Yes. What's my tab running here?
Oh, that is such a valid question, and I'm just going to... And he's doing math on the side now. The crossbow and the specialty arrowheads, and that's going to be... round and about. Let me just check your character sheet.
You're so funny, Grace.
Wow, okay, be rude about it. Well, all included, it's probably going to be about 200 gold.
All right. How about... So 200. How about 80 gold and 3 gold rings? And I pop them off my fingers.
Yeah, he picks up one of the gold rings and goes to hold it up to the light, and chews on it, makes a face. Oh, it's legit. He's hemming and hawing. Yeah, alright. 80 gold, 3 gold rings, and you are the proud owner of a very lovely crossbow, if I do say so myself. He hands it over to you.
Does this guy have any gloves also?
Like casual gloves or like workman's gloves?
Kind of like a workman's glove, but it would like it to be you can maintain dexterity while wearing them.
Let me see what I have. I don't know if they'll necessarily be up to your case. They're a little bit rough. If you want something a little bit finer, I would recommend going to the leather shop across the way. But if you really want to keep this to a one-stop shop, and he pulls out a pair of fairly plain-looking black leather gloves. It looked like they were just like his gloves that he pulled off of like a workbench.
Uh-huh.
Call it 10 gold.
Can I try them on?
Sure. They're probably a little bit big for you. This armor maker, this weapons maker, he's got pretty solidly beefy hands, larger than yours by a little bit, so these gloves are maybe not as snug as you would like them to be. But they seem like they're good, weighty gloves. They're meant for taking damage and holding up.
Did you say 10 gold for these?
You want me to say 15?
Can I roll to tell if I'm being fleeced by this old man for these gloves he got out of his, hamper?
Sure, a guy that just paid him in 3 gold rings and is wearing Prada.
Listen. Fine, I'll pay the 10 gold, God.
Okay. I would have let you do like a persuasion or something.
What?
But okay.
Oh, okay.
You got that new
I'll do
charisma.
I'm doing persuasion. Actually, wait, no. Actually, I have a good idea. Okay. I have an actual idea now. Okay. Mateo looks at this glove, which is kind of dirty, and obviously this old man's glove. And the wind starts to pick up a little bit around him. And he looks up at this old man, and he's like, "How about 2 gold?" And I'm doing an intimidation roll.
I love it.
So that's a 16 plus 5, 21.
Okay.
Don't fuck with me.
Mateo, as you make your counter offer, you can see the hairs on his arms stand up as this cold wind takes over your general space. And as he kind of glances around to see what the hell is going on with the weather, he catches your glass eye, and with the way the light is bouncing off of it, he takes a half step back before nodding quickly and just kind of tossing the gloves your way. He's like, "Pleasure doing business with you, kid." As he goes to find a jacket to put on, cutting his losses with trying to make a bargain off of his shitty gloves.
Mm-hmm. All right, I'm pretty satisfied with that. Okay.
I'm not.
So,
Mateo
what?
just bought all these weapons and stuff. All this
One
money,
weapon.
and he could have just come and asked. Yeah, he could have just come and asked Memorial Zafarian for paid
Zafarius doesn't
Nah.
run a charity.
Mateo isn't the type to just be like, "Hey, give me."
He could have asked Memorial, and she could have found him an old boat.
Patroning a small business, and I feel really attacked right now.
Wow. All right. Support small businesses then.
Support small businesses.
Support them. It's not like your friend casually does that as a hobby.
If I need more bolts, I know where to go.
All right, fine.
Okay, so I get to my little shopping's done. So now I want to go find Rami. Is he at the temple? Is he working? Is he at the stand right now?
Where do I have Rami right now?
I mean, I guess you can ask Mara if she's at the stand.
Yeah, Rami's not at the stand. Mara is at the stand, and again, trying to put a teenager in charge of a farmer's market stand at 7 a.m. You're only going to get so much out of her. She's trying to keep herself awake as people are perusing, and she's bagging their onions and their produce for them.
Hi, Mara.
Hey. What's up, Mateo?
Do you know where Rami is right now?
points sleepy finger towards the fields. She's like, he's on hay duty. He's probably... And she just passes out.
All right.
Mid-conversation.
Okay. Cool. Good talk, Mara. Gonna go find Rami at the fields.
Mm.
I'll just knock these things off my to-do list. Hee hee hee. Mateo's big day. You know what? I'm glad that man tried to rip him off.
What do you mean tried to? You're broke now. You have no more money.
How much money do you guys have?
I don't even know. Mamori has so little. Mamori probably has negative money. Mamori works in a bakery.
Hang on. No, I'm
Mamori
curious.
is in
How much
debt.
does Mamori have?
Mamori's not in debt.
Grace, enlighten us.
Hold on, I need to find her silly little character sheet.
Oh, 35.
Mm.
Okay, yeah.
not
Soldier has
broke.
27. So
You guys are
Soldier's
fine. Mateo's just got little rich kid energy. It's fine.
He just
Speaks
doesn't
more
know
about
how
him than
much
it does
things
you.
Cost.
It's
So
a
he just
banana. What could it cost?
for pastry?
$10?
Ugh.
Mateo, as you make your way through the center of town towards the fields where Rami is stationed at this morning, you pass by a number of sites. You pass by some of the more residential sides of town. You pass by the schoolyard you used to while away some hours in. And further off in the distance, you can see the abandoned construction site you used to spend so much time in. You are brought back to a conversation you had a few years back now. It's a gray day. It's mid-spring. It's nothing spectacular. There's some clouds overhead. It's probably gonna rain. The two of you are hanging out, strolling up and down the scaffolding as you usually do when you're bored and have better things to do than sit and listen about the history of the gods in this town. Kalina is kicking rocks over the ledge, trying to see how far she can launch them as she's kind of chattering away at you. I mean, I tell you, like, I really don't get it, like, why people fall for that sort of stuff. I mean, take my dad. He can see a sucker from 20 yards away, can peg them immediately as people that just, like, they need the extra help. So they'll go to anyone. They'll go to a god, they'll go to a guy who says he can sell them the most magical relic to keep them from ever, losing their girlfriend or whatever. And it's just that easy. People are just that easy. And I don't know. I guess we're, smarter, obviously. It just doesn't make sense to me, Like, who really needs a god to make them feel that powerful? That's what I want to know. She kind of hops down from her little perch and walks to where you're hanging out on the scaffolding and hands you a rock. She's like, here. This is a rock. You, and she kind of sticks a finger in your chest, Mateo. She says, you are a totally normal, non-magic guy. Now, I'm going to teach you how to cast a spell of break a fucking window.
I think I know how this one goes.
And she kind of folds her arms over her chest and looks at you expectantly as you look down from the scaffolding, and you do see just a little shack, someone's garage, essentially. Not terribly out of aim or out of range.
So just this random person's garage?
Oh, I'm sorry. Do you need to say a little prayer to summon the magic to cast the spell?
No.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know, did they do anything to, like, deserve this? I don't know.
Come on, man. You gotta wise up one of these days. And she takes the rock from your hand and chucks it through the window. And you hear someone swearing from inside. She laughs and pulls the two of you out of sight from the sky, trying to see what the hell just flew through his window. It's not about what he did. We just decided it would happen. And we didn't even need to be gods about it. That's what I'm saying.
Anyone can throw a rock, Callie.
Yeah, but do people? Or do they wait for some god to give them some sparkly fingers to throw a rock for them? I'm just saying, we've got a lot more agency than most of those sheeple seem to think we do. You're more powerful than you think you are, Mateo. Don't you ever forget that.
Mateo just, like, looks back at the broken window.
You walk past that same shack as you make your way towards Rami. Window long since repaired and expanded upon into a slightly larger shack with some sheep grazing out front. You approach the farm fields on the west side of town. And even from this distance, Rami cuts a pretty distinct silhouette. You know, he's bent over working on hauling some large bales of hay. Just working in the fields. It's him, it's a couple of other field workers that you recognize by sight. You couldn't name any of them if you tried. He dusts off his hands as he puts one bale of hay off to the side and looks up and sees you in the distance, and gives a big excited wave as he claps one of his fellow workers on the back and runs over into your direction.
Mateo waves back, but, like, you know, head level.
He bounds over a little bit out of breath. He's like, "Hey, whew, fancy seeing you here this time of day. You picking up a shift or something? We're doing hay rolls right now. It's exciting stuff."
No. It's just been a busy morning, I guess. I got you something. And Mateo pulls out the gloves.
Huh. Oh, wow. Thank you. He looks them over and is feeling the leather against his skin. He's like, actually, this is kind of perfect for today. And you can see that he's got some, like, sharp pieces of straw kind of sticking out of his palms that he goes to kind of pluck out. He slips them on. He's like, yeah, these are a great fit. They're already, like, broken in. This is, wow. Sorry, and he kind of, like, shakes his head. He's like, no, this is really sweet. Thank you.
Yeah, you're welcome. I mean, you only got 2 of those. You should take better care of them.
He laughs. He's like, yeah, you're probably right. But can I ask what the occasion is? I mean, not that I'm not happy to see you. I really don't see you here in the fields this time of day, or ever.
Yeah. I wanted to ask you something. So, I mean, you've never been, like, out of town, like, on a trip, have you?
He kind of, like, scratches at his cheek. He's like, I mean, come on, man. You know I haven't. I've been in Harth all my life. We really never had to leave town for anything. Furthest I've gone was maybe just down the road and around the corner just to see how far I could follow my uncle who was visiting in town. But I've never really been anywhere. Too much to do here, you know?
Right, but then, I don't know, I think everyone deserves a vacation every once in a while. But what I wanted to ask is, I'm going out of town with Sildra and Mamori. You saw them yesterday. We are going to be running an important errand for the teachers, and I don't know. I was wondering if maybe you want to come with.
Oh. Oh wow. That sounds really exciting. Where are you going?
To the Draga Highlands. There's some important stuff we got to pick up there for them.
He kind of whips his head away from the gloves he was inspecting for just half a second. He's like, "Oh, that's far. That's like far. What are they having you pick up?"
I mean, we've been doing a lot of stuff in terms of like town security, and this is something pretty important for that.
Oh. Yeah, I mean, that must be important. They're sending you all the way on the other side of the continent. I mean, wow. And now he's looking a little bit unsure.
But it'll be fun. I mean, you've never been out of town. There's lots of towns on the way. And...
No, I know. I'm. Listen, I'm sure it would be fun and different, and I just don't know if I can leave for. I mean, it's gonna be at least like a 2-week trip there and back, at least. When are you leaving?
Tomorrow morning.
Okay. And you can see him start kind of like muttering to himself and now kind of fiddling with the fingers of the gloves. I'll check with my pop, see what he needs done around here, and if I can afford to be away for that long.
Rami, Mateo kind of pushes him a little, and he's like, when's the last time that Rami has had a day off?
It's my birthday, and I went home an hour early because my mom was making me my favorite stew. Doesn't count, does it?
No, it doesn't count.
Okay. Let me check with my pop, just to make sure he's taken care of. And if I get the okay, then I guess I'll. Well, I'll find you, and then you can tell me what I need to bring. That's 2 weeks. Like 2 pairs of socks is good for that, right? I'll find more socks. It'll be great. And now he's smiling, and you can hear someone calling him from the distance. And he kind of gives a call back, and he's like, I'll let you know by this afternoon. Promise.
Okay.
He gives you one last big smile and a double thumbs up in his new black gloves as he heads back to work for the day. Sildra, you've been floating kind of lazily for a while now as Mamori's quieted down and is kind of lost in her own thoughts. You're taking it easy. You're just kind of enjoying the pull of the river however much as you can after the events of this morning.
They're really trying to shut those out.
You're coming up and down for air intermittently as you kind of let the water wash over you and wash the stress and the anxiety of everything that's gone down over the last week or so. And as you're letting yourself kind of not quite succumb to the water, but let it run over you, you start thinking back towards differently painful memories. You think back to the last time you were thrown for such a loop. You're younger by a couple of years now, and you're standing by the large iron gates at dawn. Philly has been packing for a couple of weeks already. You knew this day was coming, that she's been ready to hit the road and go on this pilgrimage, find herself, find her truths. The instructors at the temple said this would be good for her, that any young mage or cleric should go out and learn more about the world and about themselves on a spiritual journey. And when she told you she was leaving, it wasn't a great time. There's been so much going on for you, and much as you would love to join her, you gotta get your grades up. Your parents are on your case, and you just can't go with her. And as you see her off this morning, this quiet, cool fall morning, she's giving you a big, hard hug, one of her good hugs. She takes a deep breath and she's like, okay. Now you gotta remember, one of the key things when you're casting, it's all in the wrist. It's all in that, that kind of flick. It's like, it's just like when you're fishing, it's that same movement, you gotta keep fluid with it. That's the trick. They're gonna want you to be stiff about it. You can't be stiff about it, buddy. And, and don't forget, you do have to brush your hair once in a while. Like, that it's very important to me that when I come back, you're not overtaken by, like, I don't come back and my best friend is a pile of hair. Like, you do need to brush your hair sometimes.
They have been sort of quietly crying as she talks. But the hair comment does get them to sort of chuckle and snap out of it a bit. I mean, no promises, but hey, come back soon. Maybe it won't be too bad.
She gives a fond smile and she's like, I'll try not to be gone too long. With these things, it's hard to say how long it'll be. But I promise, when I come back, I'm gonna have so much to tell you. And you're going to have so much to tell me, and it's going to be so good, and you can see her starting to well up a little bit. And I need you to tell me that you're going to be okay. Because I'm not going to be there to make sure that you are. And I need to know you're going to be okay, Sild.
You know I can't. Yeah, I'll be okay. I promise.
She gives you another big, hard hug. And she doesn't let go this time.
They hug back just as hard.
I know everyone is going to be saying what they've been saying. And I know it's going to be hard to hear. But you need to remember that they're wrong. And that you are going to be amazing, Sildra. And they're not going to know what hit them.
Their words are kind of muffled because they're kind of smushing their face into her shoulder. But And she can hear that they say something along the lines of, leave their heads spinning.
You know it. She slowly starts to peel the two of you apart. She gives one last look at the sky and one last look at the temple. She gives a defiant nod in that direction and a much kinder, more supportive nod to you before she turns her way and leaves Harth and you in the slowly brightening morning sunrise. As you're floating, you float past the gate towards town as Mamori is still lost deep in thought, and you come up for air, probably under longer than you should have been, based on kind of how spotty your vision is.
They're wiping out their face more than they usually do when they come up for air. But other than that, and the fact that their eyes are a bit red, they seem fine.
Alright, Mamori was kind of watching, like, that was a longer dip than usual, so she was wondering, like, are there whales in this river? Like, Mary couldn't know. Like, what if we just stumbled upon some sort of fish god?
Is the worry apparent on her face?
Yeah, very much so. You resurface, look over, and Mamori is intently at you.
They give a
And then
double
pretend
thumbs up and
like
grin.
just. Are you gonna be in there much longer? Mamori kind of like her shoulder, because we're getting kind of away from town, and I still need to pack.
Yeah, we should probably head back. Never mind.
You can't do this to me. You can't just be like, never mind. Now you gotta tell me. What's in your mind?
Okay, I can. Can I stay at your place tonight?
What? Of course. Why?
Yeah, just don't make it weird.
Alright, well, there's the couch, there's the chair, you can sleep on the rug, there's that weird, it's but it's also like a seat. It's very cozy. It's in the porch.
As you're saying this, Sildra crawls out of the river, fingers thoroughly proof, and kind of shakes out their overall a bit, shakes out their shirt, doesn't really do a whole lot, and in the middle of you talking, they just start shaking their whole body like a dog.
What? Mamori scoots out of the way with her papers.
It seems like you can't quite get away from them.
What? Okay, you're a mess. Shake somewhere else, you wild beast.
What? I thought you wanted to clean up. They say as they kind of swat at their giant mess of basically a sponge on their head at this point, and get just water flying everywhere.
Mamori gives a sigh as she's like inching away and like, I have no qualm pushing you back into that river.
They hold their arms out, like on either side of them, like, try it.
Not after you just dried yourself off. Come on, we gotta go.
From where you guys are at, you're actually fairly close to Mateo, down by the work fields. You can spot his distinct fashion from a solid distance. He may have changed, but there's no one in town that dresses quite as sharply as Mateo. And you can see him kind of making his way away from the the work fields.
I assume Mamori and Sildra are not super wet, but like they're still drying off a little bit.
Sildra's super
as they
wet.
walk up to
Sildra's
him.
so
Mateo catches
Well,
sight
there's
of you two and just
bushes.
blinks.
Yes.
every step they take is like
Gross.
Beautiful.
Do you guys not have like other clothes? Do like I just went shopping.
Just changed this morning.
Is this not the same thing you've been wearing for the past 2 weeks?
I have 2 outfits. This
Ah, okay, that's how you
and
do it.
also an outfit that looks exactly like this.
Mm.
I mean, these clothes are fine.
I feel like you have like muck at the bottom of your shoes now and on your hands.
Yeah. Mamori's just holding like drying papers, her cloak in one hand, and her hair's like soaked through.
Well, anyway, so I invited Rami to come with us. I don't know if he's actually gonna come, but there's that. You know, he's like learning how to do healing magic and stuff, so I figured that'd be useful to have.
That would be super useful. Like, I can't tell you how many times I've been in some sticky situations and I've been like, wow, we could really use a healer, like, right now.
I'm standing right here.
Yeah, but you do so good. So good.
And Mateo like gets a little closer to you two, and says like a little hush hush. He's like, so if he does come, I might have not explained everything that we're doing or why we're doing it. So if you guys could like not tell him, like that's I'll tell him. I will tell him eventually, but you know, if I told him now, he'd just tell everyone in town.
And he's not gonna tell everyone in town after he hears about the big B later on.
We'll be out of town for what, 2 weeks? I mean, I don't know. You might.
That's reassuring.
The teacher said they would have, you know, told it at that point anyways.
I mean, I'm not objecting to it. Just trying to figure out how things are gonna go.
You guys still got to get ready for this big journey. You've got the whole rest of the day to yourselves. Where would you like to start?
I'm going to the library.
Mamori really only has one person who really wants to do real quick. And she'll let Thistia know too.
Mm-hmm.
Oh, and probably, you know, town guard. Yeah, call you.
All right. Mateo's at library. Mamori is going to speak with at least 2 people, 2, maybe 3. Sildra, anywhere in particular you want to swing by?
So I'm trying to remember. Did I leave a note for my family yet?
I don't believe so. I think you...
Okay. That was all in my head.
Uh-huh. Yeah, Sildra, you've spent the last week not home, but crashing in Ithaco's greenhouses, following her requests to keep an eye on the place before they, you know, called you in. You had your big confrontation. It's that same morning after you kind of have confronted your teachers. You haven't been home in like a week.
They're okay with that.
Mm.
But the people at home probably aren't.
Mm-hmm.
Soldier, what are you gonna do? I think for now they're probably just going to sit by the creek and sulk and throw pebbles into it. And probably like before they leave, they will begrudgingly get up and go to sneak another note into their parents' house. Like, hey, I'm not dead. Bye.
Yeah, because I also believe, Sildra, you had requested to stay the night with Mamori at Thistia's.
Mm-hmm.
So we'll cross that family bridge when we get to it.
Uh-huh. I know you were asking questions earlier, Grace. I know
Mm-hmm.
it's coming.
Mm-hmm. Well, we'll see. Yeah, let's leave Sildra at the riverbank for now. You can kind of put off seeing your family for a little while longer, as much as you're able to, anyways. Before you will have to go and grab some clothes, some stuff before you leave town.
Mm-hmm.
Mateo or Mamori? Anybody have a preference?
I don't care either way.
Okay. Well, with that being said, let's just do odds or evens. Chicken dice? You tell me. Mateo, you're headed up to the library. What are you looking for up there?
So Mateo's plan right now is to just like do as much research as possible about like the places that we're going to be passing by, probably. The place that we're going. He's looking for like information on like gods we might come into contact with, or just like any helpful information, because he's never been I would say he's never been like south of the Lost Wastes, and that's most of where we're going.
Yeah, that's very true. Yeah, Mateo, you make your way up to the library, and the rest of the library aides are already going about their daily tasks, morning duties. You see a few of them kind of glance your way, give a nod as they go back to following out Athatria's still written out orders. From what you can tell, she hasn't been in yet today, same as the past week, leaving you to run the place in her stead. And as people are getting the place up and running for the day, you make your way down to the restricted part of the library and start going through tomes, checking out, places along the way with regards to the expected route you'll be taking. Mateo, you get yourself situated with one of the more up-to-date maps of the continent. Starting from the Great Range, you can see Harth barely a speck on this map for how humble of a settlement it is in comparison to some of the other settlements on this continent. From what you can tell, your route is going to take you the long way around the wastes. No one really cuts through there if they can avoid it. Most opt to take the long way around and then follow the man-made roads to your destination of choice. It'll be a long trip. You'll be making your way past a few more scenic areas. There should be some interesting sights in the Scarfield, an ancient battleground that's still littered with old weapons from battles long past. It'll take you down and around the Zelio Forest. You can see there's maybe a shrine in there. It seems to be dedicated to the god of the border woods, with a little sigil that looks like a wolf with stag horns. Past the forest, it's a fairly straight shot. You can either cross the large lake to the south of it, or take the longer road across the southern plains before making your way down to the Draga Highlands, as Bobino pointed out several weeks back at this point, where he mentioned that the troop were headed from their previous camp at the Trader's Caravan, so much closer to home. It's a long road between the strain of just long-distance travel and the frankly sparse amount of settlements in this particular route. It seems like it's going to be kind of a test of endurance rather than, fear of having to deal with anyone jumping out at you from dark places.
Okay. I will say, so Mateo, he usually would, like, get his books and go down to the restricted section and like have no one dealing with him, no one looking at him. But this time he takes the books out and he brings them to like a table that's within sight of like the main entrance door.
Mm.
And he does this because he is kind of antsy on hearing like Rami's response to him, so he wants to make himself found at this point.
Interesting. Yeah, Mateo, you're camped out in the main section of the library with, aides and townspeople milling about. I think one of the aides peeks over, a little bit shocked to see you settled kind of out in the open, and glances at the materials you've pulled out. You say, "Oh, don't tell me you're leaving too. Okay, so who's going to be running this place if you're gone? If Lady Athatri is gone, like, what are we? So who's in charge? Because if Dea is in charge, I'm quitting on the spot. Just so you know."
But how often have you even like seen me this week? Let's be honest here. I gave you guys some notes. You have your directives. You just put the books back where they belong. Put the relics back where they belong. That's it. You'll be fine.
Okay, but like, and they kind of glance over their shoulders and they're like, "Okay, but like, is there any update from Lady A? Like, any chance she's gonna be back anytime soon? Because like, I don't know, she's not usually gone this long. Like, is she okay?"
Listen, she needs a break, you know? It's been a while, working this library day in and day out, dealing with you guys. So she's just taking, like, a little breather. But she's fine. Don't worry about it. I saw her yesterday.
If you say so. And this reanimate kind of like turns back to what looks like a group of their buddies kind of peering over at you as they give kind of a hands up gesture and they go back to stocking shelves. For now, is there anything else you want to do? Anything else you want to roll for and investigate, or see what you can find out in your studies?
We're not going through like a lot of towns, really.
Mm.
Can I just like do an investigation check of some kind?
Sure.
What should I bring? What should I be like packing here?
Mm-mm.
Okay, so it's a 16 plus 4, dirty 20.
Oh, hell yeah. Very cool. We love that.
I can do anything. It's read.
It's true. Mateo is so good at reading these tomes and texts. And with a dirty 20, looking at the route you guys are most likely going to take from Harth to the Draga Highlands, you're right. There's not a whole lot of settlements, which means you probably should stack up on basic provisions. There's not going to be a lot of places to buy, a hot meal. So I got ready to be roughing it a little bit. In particular, it seems like there is a fair amount of warnings surrounding the Lost Wastes. It's some of it's superstition. They're a wasteland. They're desolate. There's a well-known ongoing sandstorm there that's been raging for centuries at this point that is just impossible to navigate. Well, nearly impossible, as it's been well documented that there is a group of raiders that have made themselves at home on the outskirts of the waste, hoping to ambush any lost wanderers that think to try and cut through the wastes themselves to kind of sneak through.
That's good to know.
Mm-hmm. There are a handful of smaller shrines on the way here to, all sorts of gods. Like I said, the god of the border woods in the Zelio forest is probably the largest shrine prior to getting to the Draga settlement proper. But you'll undoubtedly pass a number of smaller shrines, like the uh, similar to the God of Lost things that you passed by on your initial trek to the trader's caravan.
Mhm.
So being mindful that those will be around should you have any passing interest in getting a small blessing from any local gods.
Cool.
Biggest takeaway, don't cut through the wastes if you don't have to.
Mm-hmm.
Unfortunately, you have been directly asked to go through the wastes
Yes.
by Zephyrius.
We don't have to necessarily go through. We just have to find where the locked entrance is.
Mm-hmm.
Which I'm sure will be really easy with a sandstorm going all over the place.
Oh, yeah.
But yeah, Mateo's plans are he stays here at the library until it's dinner time to deal with whatever that's going to be. Yep, just twiddling his thumbs, waiting for Rami to show up.
Oh, sitting by the window, just kind of staring out, waiting to see a very big smile and a little backpack boy running up to you.
Oh.
We'll see where Rami gets up to this afternoon. Let's jump now to Mamori. Mamori, you had mentioned you want to speak to a couple of people in town. Who's your first stop? Who are you
Well,
looking for?
I think we can just assume that Omori checks in with Kalia and actually no, just kidding. Momori's gonna check in with Kalia first. I think we can assume she tells Thistia where she's going and explains, oh yeah, doing another
Mm-hmm.
errand for the teachers. I won't be back for a while this time. Gonna be camping.
Mm-hmm.
We're gonna roast s'mores. It's gonna be great. Um I don't think we need an entire scene for that. But yeah, Momori's gonna just, you know, find Kalia and see what's up, and then she's gonna have her talk with Davis.
Very cool. Yeah, I think you swing by the bakery first, and Thistia is dealing with some customers. She's putting orders together, and you mentioned that you're going to be out of town for a couple of weeks, so she gets her fussing out of the way, and it's the middle of the day. She can't fuss for too long, but mentions that she'll make sure that you're packed up with plenty of snacks come tomorrow morning. She gives you
Sure.
a big hug before you're on your way looking for Kolya, who is posted down by the foothills out past the town gates, just a little ways away from the main road outside of town. She's in the foothills, uh, sending a few other scouts out and about, redirecting people to exchange shifts from town duty to hill duty, as you make your way over to her. And she gives a big old smile and a big salute. Says, my vice captain. Where you been, girl? Come on, we got some good patrols going on out here. These foothills have got some really great, lines of sight. You can see clear across the range, from this one perch over there. Oh, you gotta check it out.
Hey Kalia. Yeah, that sounds great. I'm actually here to let you know that I'm actually gonna be out of town for the next, oh, I don't know, for a bit. The teachers have us going on another important errand, so it's gonna be a minute before I'm back. But it looks like you've got everything under control here. Is that new recruit carrying a crossbow? Do they know how to use that?
She glances over at the recruit you had mentioned, and kind of makes a bit of a grimace. She's like, "Ooh, yeah, maybe not that one." And she's like, "Hey,
It's
hey,
a little big for them.
yeah, mm, okay. You need a switch with recruit 48 over there, please." Uh,
Mhm.
yeah, Master Zephyrius has been really, really great about, outfitting some of these wonderful new recruits, and they're so eager. Um, they're
Oh
so
yes,
eager to defend the town. I'd
Mhm.
hate to discourage, any sort of spirit of, town pride and defense. We're gonna be running drills. Not to worry. I'm bummed that you're not gonna be running those drills with us. I mean, I know you're quite the shot yourself, and kind of punches your shoulder.
Oh no, come on. I'm no better than you are. Um, but yeah, speaking of which, we're actually going to be traveling quite a ways, and I'm wondering, Kalia, have you ever traveled outside of Harth, and do you know anything about, the wider world, I guess, in particular, the wastes at all, or?
Huh. And she's kind of nodding along. She's like, "Yeah, I mean, I'm Hearth born and raised, but a couple of times my folks and I have, left town, and we've traveled to oh, let's see, we've been to like Alaka a couple of times. Oh, there's a settlement right on the west coast that we've been to. Shino. They're pretty cool. Um, they worship the god of the East Sea, or wow, they worship the god of the West Sea. Weird, the West Coasters worship the East Sea god. Um, yeah, I
Yeah.
mean, people are people. Gods will sometimes influence, what, local culture is particularly obsessed with. I mean, we got clouds and wheat, they got, seagulls and wind chimes. It just kind of depends on where you're at. Um, the Lost
Yeah.
Waste. Yeah, I mean,
Mhm.
that's, and she kind of taps her chin. She's like, I mean, you don't go through them, that's rule number one. I mean, you can, if you're curious, they got that, whole plaque and whatever, down by the queso outpost. If you just kind of want to see him from a safe distance, but you go around the Lost Waste, and it's a huge waste of time. I mean, it's not like there's anything worth seeing in there, but my advice:
Well,
avoid the dust and
mhm.
the chapped lips if you can.
Yeah, Memori kind of crosses her arms uncomfortably. Do you know, why, or where do I start? Um, about the gods. Um, who should be looking out for down there? Like,
Down by
in
the
that
waist?
general area,
Hmm.
right?
Well, let's see. On the western side of the wastes, there's the god of the border woods. Um, they're
Mhm.
normally a little bit territorial from what I've heard. Definitely, pro the people who worship them, a little less friendly towards, out of towners. Let's see. On the eastern side of the wastes, that's getting kind of close to Sunback, so you're gonna see a lot more of, oh, let's see, the god of the North Sea. Yeah, that's big over there. Um, yeah, the further east you get, you're gonna see a lot more of, Maristako's imagery. If you haven't seen him yet, I mean, he's probably one of the bigger gods, at least on this side. But I mean, down south, like south past the waste, ah,
Mhm.
I've really never gone quite that far. Sorry.
Sure. Um, hmm.
what are you doing that far? I mean, look, I trust Big Z, day in and day out. I can only assume, if he thinks you're better off, running errands for him than defending the town. I mean, I'm gonna trust his judgment. But I mean, that's if you're looking down south past the wastes, I mean, that's a hike.
We're looking for some particular people and objects that can't be found anywhere else, unfortunately. So, and the teachers have got everything they're doing out here, so we can't really afford them to go. And honestly, I'm looking forward to kind of seeing some more of this continent, but yeah, I mean, what do you mean when you say this god in the wastes is territorial? Like, are there any stories or rumors or anything else you can tell me about that? Like, territorial, what does that look like? Like, he'll push you with a sandstorm across the wastes, helpfully, so that you don't have to be there any less time, or he turns you into big stone monoliths, or cuts off your head and drinks your blood. Like, what kind of unfriendly is this? I feel like there's a scale with gods, and on one end it's being struck by lightning and dying, and on the other end it's like being made uncomfortable, but maybe there's some helpfulness there, or maybe just, a bad rash when you wake up in the morning.
I mean, yeah, that about covers it. As far as different types of gods you might be able to encounter around these parts. The god of the border woods, he's not the god of the Lost Wastes. The Lost Wastes has no god. I mean, there's no one in there to worship anything, so nothing's gonna survive in there, not easily anyways. No, the god of the border woods is, located in the Zelia forest just to the southwest of the wastes. And I say territorial, I guess, protective of their base makes more sense.
But is this protective like we're gonna die protective, or is this like protective like,
protective as in just to be mindful of, the trees and the wildlife and the stuff, show due respect in the territory of the god, and you'll be fine. Just don't go, needlessly chopping down trees or, stepping on shrines if you can avoid it. Basic house guest rules.
God, yeah, that would be awful, wouldn't it, if you just, destroyed a god's shrine by tripping all over into it and making a mess of everything.
I mean, it is a surefire way to get on a god's, hit list, if you know what I mean.
For sure.
Okay. That's their house.
Yeah. Yeah, we won't even go there. You know what? I've just decided we just won't go there. We won't go into the woods. No woods. We'll go into dark waste time. Waste, sandy, bad place. But what? Okay, so this waste. Yeah, I feel like there's a reason why people don't go into it. And I don't know. I've never lived here. I mean, I have, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, Kalia kind of takes a breath. She kind of nods her head. She's like, yeah, you're such a part of town these days. I kind of forget that you're not from around here. So, some of the stuff that's kind of second nature to the people of these parts. Yeah, you've never been, so how would you know? She kind of takes a knee in the grassy fields. She kind of watches the clouds drift by, makes herself comfortable. She pats the ground next to her for, an invitation for you to sit with her for a little bit.
Okay, Momori sits down.
Yeah, the Lost Wastes. I'm gonna try to remember, from my history class. It's been a while, and I wasn't the best student. Uh,
Momori laughs.
according to first-hand accounts, the wasteland, it's defined by its ever-raging sandstorm, which is super bizarre because this isn't like, sandy continent or anything. It's just, this dead space in the middle of everything. And, people say it's been expanding over the years. I think it's all, I think people just are getting worse allergies year over year and they want to be able to blame the wastes on it. I mean, it's definitely not pleasant. Between the sand, between the harsh winds, just general garbage conditions in there. I mean, it's just it's a dead zone in the continent. People claim you can make a living there, right on the outskirts, and you probably could. It wouldn't be pleasant, but I mean, trying to really pass through there, it's suicide mission. I mean, you're not going to make it from one end to the other, like in any healthy state. That's for sure.
Momori has been quietly, tensely sitting next to Kalia as she's mentioned the sandstorm, and her fists have kind of balled up and her nails are digging in to her palm really hard. She takes a breath and okay, so the wastes are basically one big giant sand trap, is what you're telling me.
I mean, that's all anyone's ever been able to, report back about. No one's really been able to cross from one side to the other, and really tell about it. So most we can get is the general, mile or so perimeter on all sides, and then it's just assumed sand, I guess. Whatever. She chuckles. She's like, whatever god has beef with, that exact plot of land in this continent must have done something awful.
Yeah. God, I hate sand. Okay, even stupid, angry, territorial forest god sounds better than that, to be quite honest. I can understand why people go the other way.
Trust me, you don't need to be, a big hero about trying to brave the wastes. It's just, and she kind of pats you on the back. She's like, it's just not something you do, You don't go, stepping over an on fire house. You don't go through the wastes. You go around. And if you want to feel brave, do as much as you want, but there's no sense in going over, blighted land.
For sure. Thanks, Kalia. I think that's all I've got for questions for you.
Well-
Besides that, I'm gonna miss you, and don't work too hard while I'm gone.
She gets up and offers a hand to pull you to your feet, and from pulling you up, she pulls you into a big, kind of too tight hug. kind of squeezes the breath out of you a little bit. She says, "Oh, listen, I'll work hard enough for the both of us, and I'll whip these recruits into shape." And she kind of calls over her shoulder. She's like, "Oh, you had better drop that crossbow at this point. You know that's not yours. You have the trident." She says, I gotta go wrangle these guys. But hey, by the time you're back, these guys are gonna be in fighting shape."
All right, I'll hold you to it. They look pretty scrawny right now, so you better make sure that they're bulking up, eating that protein.
Can do. Hey, I will say, if you're traveling around, and this is just kind of like news I've been hearing from from the other local settlements. We've kind of re-emphasized some more regular communication with our people in Zikanos and here and there. The people who attacked our temple the other week, man, that news really has spooked some of these gods. I'm getting news from kind of my counterparts, my fellow guard captains. Some of these gods have gotten a little bit spooked as of late. They're not sticking around in one temple or one shrine for too long. So just I know you don't need them, but if you're traveling with people that do kind of depend on gods for magic, just give them a heads up. They might be a little bit harder to pin down these days than they used to be.
Yeah, I don't know that that's going to be our biggest problem, but I enjoy hearing about your little fellowship of guard captains. That's cute.
We
How
started.
long has that been going on?
Right after our temple was attacked, I sent out the warning, to local townships, just give people a heads up, and now we're pen pals.
My goodness.
I have this really great messenger pigeon. His name is Rudy, and he's due back later this afternoon with a message from the Zikanos captain. It's really cool, Mamori.
I love it already. I can't wait to meet your pigeon.
You're gonna love him. He's a real sweetheart.
All right, well, I definitely have to go talk to a few more people before I leave, so I'll catch you later, Kalia. Mamori heads off in direction of town.
See, Mateo's still at library. Sildra's still at Riverbank, huh?
Yeah, Sildra's going through it. Sildra's having an existential crisis and doesn't know where to go.
Sildra's having an associative episode.
Oh no.
Well, basically, yeah, because they backstory spoilers. And then Ithaco was a safe space, and now she's not a safe space. And it's like, well, what can be a safe space? What's gonna happen? I can't trust anyone, so I guess I'll just sit here with the rocks and the fishes. They never hurt me.
Oh God.
I know. I did this, but oh no, she did this. Yeah, Sildra, you are hanging out by the river's edge. Hiram's not coming. Don't worry, he's gone home for the day. And you've been alone with your thoughts for the last little while. But as you've been hanging out, you can hear the footsteps of someone approaching. And as you turn around, you see your older sister, Pallas, just kind of very, very tentatively creeping up on you. She was maybe trying to be a little bit more quiet about it, but there's not much else going on for you to focus on. And so you catch her coming up behind you.
Sildra will tuck their knees in and just bury their face in their knees and groan.
Nice to see you too. And she's fairly awkward. You're not really close with your older sister. I mean, you guys are a good couple of years apart. Um, she's kind of the epitome of everything, a Corey child should be. A magical whiz who helps out, in the family fields with her farm druid magic. Golden child as anything. But she's been, an insufferable older sister sometimes, but particularly in the last few years, at least more tolerable to be around than your parents. And, as she gets closer, she kind of tucks a curly strand of hair behind her ear. She says, it's good to see you're alive. Been a while since you've been around. I just wanted to make sure you were okay, and I was I've been checking by the fishing hole and your usual haunts the last few days, and I couldn't find you, and figured I'd just check again. And hand gestures. Here you are.
I've been busy.
Do you want to talk about it? Uh, what am I saying?
Not
I mean,
especially.
yeah, I figured as much. Are you eating? Have you had breakfast today, or are you back to kind of, sleeping in fields? Not that there's anything wrong with, sleeping in fields. Plenty of, very cool and successful people do that. She starts kind of rummaging through one of her robe pockets and pulls out a nicely little wrapped slice of one of your aunt's homemade pumpkin bread slices.
Aw.
She's like, um, on the off chance that you didn't get around to breakfast this morning, can't have you withering away to nothing.
They will reluctantly look up to see what it is. And it does catch their attention. Like their eyes do linger on it for a bit. And then right back to hiding away in the knees.
She kind of fusses with the bread slice before it's kind of placing it next to you, and she looks over her shoulder at the farm fields in the distance. She says, I'm gonna have to get back there before they notice I'm, gone a little bit longer than I usually am, but
Why did you even come out here?
well, someone had to make sure you were okay, bud.
I left a note.
Yeah, you'd be surprised. Those notes, they don't go over as well as you might think they do. People
Well,
usually appreciate a little bit more than, hey, I'm gonna be gone for a while. Later, bye.
they kind of chuckle at that, a bit mirthfully, but it's better than the sulking that's been happening so far. I mean,
I'm just... Go
it
on.
goes over a lot better for me, even if it doesn't go better for you guys.
You may have a point there. Just... She kind of kicks the ground now. Look, I know you got more reasons to be away from home than to want to be there. I get it. And I'm, for what it's worth, I'm sorry.
You're sorry.
I'm sorry you're not happier, Sild.
That I can't be like you.
That you can't be like you, man. And now she does kind of like flop down. Not terribly close to you, but enough that you can see she's getting, dirt on the parts of her robes that she's normally a little bit better about not getting terribly filthy. For being a farm druid, she's got quite a need for things to be just so. She's a big tidier, and she's kind of unnecessarily getting her robes dirty by hanging out, on ground level.
Sildra will kind of scoot away as she sits down. It's not clear whether they're making room for her or trying to get away, but they do peek out from their little hiding position. It's going to stain.
She glances down at the ends of her robes, and she's like, I'll deal with it later. I got more important things to deal with right now. It's okay. If you need to be somewhere else. I know that's not what they want, us to be, telling the rest of the family. It's, stick together, stay on the farm, do this, do that. It's family first. You got to do it for the family. But I mean, if that's not working for you, man, I mean, you should be happy the way that you are. You should be able to get to be happy. And if being home isn't doing that for you, well, maybe you're due for your own, life-changing field trip.
The kind that takes you out of Harth.
The kind that gets you out of the house.
The pumpkin bread is on the ground, right?
Yeah, it's between the two of you.
Sildra's going to go ahead and pick it up and just tuck it away somewhere into their many, many pockets. I'm gonna be gone for a while again. Probably longer this time.
Are you going to be safe?
They don't say anything.
Kind of a disgruntled noise.
It's important. Like, I don't know. It's a lot. It's a lot of things. It's for a lot of different people, and I don't know, man. I don't know what's going to happen, but I'm gonna be going pretty far, and I don't know what it's gonna be like, and it, I just I can't promise anything.
She's quiet for a little bit, and now you can both start hearing your dad's voice calling out for her from further in the fields. You can't see him, but you can hear him. And she kind of winces and says, I get back. I want to go back. I don't want to go back.
If you
What do you need?
ignore him, he's just gonna get louder.
I know. No one needs to hear that. You said you're leaving for a while, right? What do you
Yeah.
need?
What
I
do
can
you
Well, you haven't been back to the house in over a week now. I can imagine that you probably don't really want to go back there. So what do you need, and where can I drop it off for you?
They take a moment to just look her over, her dirty clothes and the expression she's wearing. I need some food that I can take with me, and a change of clothes wouldn't hurt.
I mean, if you're going for as long as you say you are, you're getting more than one change of clothes. I mean, I'll get you at least 2 more pairs of overalls. And a brush.
Oh no, you're spoiling me.
Yeah, yuck it up. And she kind of goes to muss your hair. Let me know where I can drop the stuff off for you. When are you leaving?
Sometime tomorrow, early. I'm gonna be playing at this fields tonight. Maybe you could drop it back there somewhere.
She gives a nod and gives a sigh as she pushes herself up from the ground and dusts out her robes as best as she can. She's like, damn it, that is gonna stain, isn't it? I'll grab your stuff and I'll try and swing by later tonight.
Sildra reaches out to hold her hands and just gives it a light squeeze.
She squeezes back and plucks one more, like, stick from your hair. Tries to put one curl over another, just trying to straight. She can't help herself with her fussing.
They start like running their hands over their hair, trying to block it off. And I'm like, oh, okay, enough.
I'm done. I promise I'm done this time. As she walks back towards the fields, she gives one more look over her shoulder at you, small smile and a thumbs up, as she calls back out to your dad and gets back to work. It's getting a little bit later now, as you guys are making your rounds to, the library, your people, getting to be mid-afternoon or so. Mateo, Rami still hasn't shown yet. You've been whiling away in the library, and, the aides are giving you your space as they go about their chores and things. But no sign of Rami as of yet.
Okay. Mateo probably like pushes it as far as like he knows like dinner's gonna be at like a certain time.
Mm.
And he like pushes that boundary of okay, I'm just a little bit late. No, actually I'm very late. I'm going to be late. I will be very late. Waiting for Rami to show up. And then he's like, all right, fine. And puts the books away and goes home.
Yeah, you get home, you walk by the fields, and you can see that most of the workers have gone home for the day. And you don't see Rami, and you don't see his father as you walk past the fields to get home. And when you walk in the door, late as you are, who else but your mother is waiting for you, embroidery in hand, and a very unimpressed look on her face. Your place at the dinner table still set, and dinner still cold. As she kind of levels you with a look that very clearly reads, unimpressed.
Work was pretty busy today. I know I'm late. Sorry.
Well, considering the talk about town is that you are currently running the library, I suppose I should be rather proud to see the work ethic on display here. Cold dinner is unfortunate, but I'm sure you'll be able to manage.
Yes, thanks. So I'm gonna be running an errand, for this job. I'm gonna be running an errand, that's gonna take me out of town for a little bit. Pushing food on plate with fork.
Is that so? And she's back to fussing with her embroidery, not looking at you. And may I ask, where and how far and for how long, and what exactly is the nature of these errands?
There's a important artifact that Lady Athetria wants me to recover from the Draga Highlands.
She has you running her library, and now she has you sprinting halfway across the continent. More than halfway, actually. Completely other side of continent for some extra bauble for her collection. How courteous of that woman to take my son so far from home.
Well, I'm the only one she trusts to deliver it safely. Continuing to push food at plate, not looking at her.
I suppose it is an impressive feat that you are so highly regarded. But she says, not looking at you and fussing with her embroidery. This would be your first time going quite so far. Are you prepared? Will you be traveling by yourself? Do you have any idea what it takes to travel quite so far across the continent?
I mean, I'm gonna be packing as soon as I'm done with this. Yes, there's a couple other people coming along too.
Hmm. People who can fight?
Yeah, one of like the town guard is coming.
Oh, at the very least, she sees fit to appropriately have you protected. Give that woman that much, I suppose. Braga Highlands. Haven't been there in quite some time. I wonder... Well, I'm sure things are better now. You'll be fine. You will be fine. She kind of now gives you a very pointed look.
When have you been there before?
Oh, years and years ago, back in my younger days. She gives kind of a wistful little laugh. Oh, quite the group down there, I must say. Back when I was down there, there was a smallish settlement getting established. Some collective of, some worshippers of a lost god here or there. They decided to commune together. Better to have several small gods than one major god, and an interesting group of people. If a little bit, well, shabby, to be frank. Really, really, uh, refugees, more like, coming from all walks of life. But they seemed happy enough down there. It's been quite some time at this point, so perhaps they're more, established, have some better, some more refined trade connections, hopefully. If you come home in rags, my child, I will not be impressed.
Uh-huh. I don't think that'll be a problem.
Better not be.
Well, I should get packing, I guess.
I suppose. 2 weeks. At least. At least 2 weeks of clothes. And she gets up from her chair. She opens up one of the many big trunks that, look more like decoration than, things holding stuff from your mother's many travels. She rummages around and seems to be in there for a while. She's like, it's in here somewhere. You go pack. I will find wherever the hell this thing got off to. Go pack. And don't forget your cashmeres. And don't forget, if you're bringing your cashmeres, they need to be in a pine box. Check around the corner. I have at least 3 of them for you to take.
I'll bring you a pine box. Mateo's going to his room.
They will be moth-eaten if you do not.
Okay.
Mateo, are you packing anything in particular beyond, a couple of weeks' provisions?
I mean, I got this. I don't know. Yeah, it's clothes. It's new crossbow and whatever bolts I got from that old guy. Slingshot, whatever. Some good rocks for that. Yeah, I don't know. When Mateo gets into his room and he's got like some curtains for his like bedroom window that he can sneak in and out of, and he like makes sure that they're open as he's doing this.
I got you. Yeah, Mateo, I think you spend the rest of the evening putting yourself together. Bedroom window goes unvisited over the evening as you assemble your gear. True to your mother's word, she leaves several big trunks outside of your bedroom door. Really too many to feasibly bring on a trip like this, but they're there for you if you need them. I think if you poke your head out your bedroom at any point in the evening, you can see your mom's kind of torn the house apart a little bit, looking for whatever she's trying to hunt down for you. And she's kind of cursing under her breath initially, and then goes to cursing kind of loudly the longer it takes for her to find this whatever. It's here. It has to be in here somewhere. There's no way that I lost this thing. It's been... Mateo, you haven't found by chance, or happenstance, or have by any means gotten into any of my personal locked boxes. You have not found any sort of locket or pendant.
No, I can't say I have.
Got to be in here somewhere. Okay, this will... We'll find this at some point. Yeah, she's going to continue tearing apart the house in search of this thing. As you try and settle in for an early night's rest. As you're as much as you're able to. We'll come back to you and your bedtime roll routine in a minute. Sildra and Mamori, come late afternoon, early evening, you both make your way over to Thistia's home. And Mamori, you're finally able to track down Abus, who stumbles in from the door looking exhausted but satisfied with another day's work of running deliveries for Thistia's bakery around the town. The little girls, Holly and Wendy, just about tackle him as he comes through the door, jumping on him, poking at his hat. He kind of has gotten more used to this over the course of the week of him staying here. You know, with everything that's gone down with the teachers and his relics and his life's work being rather upended. He's kind of appreciated the hospitality Thistia has extended to him while he figures out kind of his next moves. And as he sees you, Mamori, he gives a courteous nod and says, you were out the door early this morning. Everything all right there, Vice Captain? And gives kind of a silly little salute.
Yeah. Actually, can I talk to you for a minute, Abus? Alone? For
Sure, yeah. Well, yeah.
just come out of here on the porch with me. And she grabs him by the hand, shoos away Holly and Wendy.
They're echoing.
Oh, be quiet, you two.
As you guys are now on the back porch, Thistia, you can hear, comes in the house and starts getting dinner on the table and getting the girls in order, helping out.
So I'm going away for a little bit. For maybe longer than a little bit, actually. The teachers are having us run an errand to find some people who can help stop the apocalypse. So, yeah. That's the first thing.
And he's kind of like blinking. He's like, is there anything I can do to help? Or, I mean, as far as I'm aware, we're the only ones that kind of know that the end of the world is coming.
Yeah, about that, don't tell anyone. The teachers are going to tell everyone soon, but they haven't yet. So keep this on the DL.
Yeah, that's what they said the last time, and they still haven't told anyone.
Yes, but we have to be patient, and we have to trust them. I know that our relationship, or your relationship with them, has been rocky, but they have the best interest of the people of Harth and this world at heart. So, just keep that in mind.
Are you gonna be okay? I mean, if they're sending you on this big, long journey, are you... And he's kind of fumbling for words.
Momori kind of grips the hem of her short tunic. She smooths it out with her hands and kind of looks away from Avis. That's the other thing. You haven't, found anything to help with the curse, have you?
He kind of gives a shake of his head and he's like, I've been, collecting informations. I've been doing research into smaller curse breakings. Something this severe, I guess, is... I'm still looking.
Okay.
I'll figure something out.
Okay. Momori's shaking a little bit. Well, you keep looking. You keep looking, and Zephyrius knows, so maybe you two can think of some things together. We've kind of got this world to save, so, us going through the Highlands and stuff, that's gonna be priority number one. She kind of twists her robe in her hands a little bit. I think, I can start asking, some of our contacts that we made and start figuring some other stuff out too. She kind of picks up a stray glass that's somebody left on the side table and puts it down again. Just kind of collapses into a chair and puts her head in her hands.
Distressed Avis sounds as he pulls up a chair in front of you and kind of tries to go to put a hand on your shoulder, but doesn't really know what to do in this situation.
Mori just kind of places her hand over his, but he can definitely feel the vibrations of her body just shivering. I want so many things, and I want I want to get revenge on the god who did this to me. And I want to have a chance to really fully find my family. Not just my parents, but the people who might not be blood related to you, but, your people. And I don't know if I'm gonna make it to the apocalypse in 3 months, at this rate. I'm scared, Avis. I'm really, really scared.
He is very, very careful as he goes from holding your shoulder to slowly kind of testing the waters as he brings you in for a hug And he just kind of
So cute.
he just kind of holds you, and he says, "It sounds terrible to say that I really want you to make it to the apocalypse."
Mori just she like once he like kind of held her just kind of like melted quite a bit. Like like the stress kind of went off and she gives a sound and it's kind of like something between a sob and a guffaw. I it does sound pretty bad.
It's not good.
Let's I don't want if things go wrong, I don't want you to feel like if the worst happens that it was anyone's fault, all right? Don't it's not if you can't fix this, Avis, and Momori kind of like turns to him and like looks him in the eyes. Don't blame yourself. Okay? Just promise me that.
He is staring you back in the eyes, and you can see his eyes are getting a little bit weepy and a little bit red.
Oh, babe.
And he kind of clears his throat and says, I've been spending this last week trying to figure out what I'm really supposed to do anymore. For a long time, I thought my goal in life was to uncover and preserve and celebrate the history of the world and of other people on this grand scale. And my relics, it was finding a whole lost kingdom to uncover, and that's probably not going to happen that way anymore. That doesn't mean I can't still preserve one person. He takes your hands in his, and he gives them a warm squeeze as he says, "How about this? You work on making sure the apocalypse doesn't happen. And I'll work on making sure that you're there for whatever happens after that."
Mori kind of sighs. All right. Okay, deal. You drive a hard bargain, you know that, Avis? For a scholar and a hunter of lost artifacts. Sure you're not, like, related to some sort of, monger of small trinkets, or...
I never liked the moniker of treasure hunter. It always seemed a little bit reductive, but I can make it work.
Well, thank you, Avis. Truly. Momori, gets up and kind of just grabs his head and gives him a kiss on the forehead. I guess, well, we're leaving in the morning, so I'll see ya in a few.
Bright pink. His face
Aww.
is bright pink and his eyes are
Sweet boy.
very wide. As he gives a small, tight nod at you as you make your way inside, and he lingers on the back patio for a little while longer. Comes in eventually for Holly and Wendy to immediately jump on his back and start giving him a hard time. Thestia true to her word, has a hot meal ready for you and a number of snack bags set for you off to the side.
Excellent. Mamori also, I don't know where we'd have it, but we definitely have a tent somewhere. Mamori got a tent.
Yeah, Fisty has had the girls hard at work getting the household stuff in line for you, and you can see a number of bags set up for your journey already. Not necessarily fully packed, but getting ready for you. Yeah, and at this point, I think, Sildra, it's getting late enough, and you can only linger in the fields for so long before it's high time for you to get to Thistia's place.
Mm-hmm.
As you get yourself to Thistia's home, you were there, the other week, you know your way. You see a big stack of your stuff waiting at the front door, in your family trunks and boxes, a number of knapsacks rolled up with some of your clothes that you can see, some new clothes that you haven't worn before yet, but someone stuck them in there for you. And you see your old tackle box, very carefully placed at the top of it, with just a little note with a letter P scrawled on top, and a PS that says, Heidi, as you can see an extra comb sticking outside of the tackle box.
No.
Mm.
They'll very sort of, not carefully, but they'll pick this whole bundle up with both hands and hold it tight to their chest when they walk inside.
And inside, Thistia welcomes you with a friendly squeeze. Abus gives a nod, and you guys all settle in for the night, getting comfortable. You've got a slice of warm bread waiting for you and a cup of tea as you all get ready for the morning to come. And as you guys all lay down to bed, Mateo, make your insomnia roll.
Can I do it with disadvantage? Just because I feel like this is like a big day tomorrow.
Yeah.
And Rami hasn't showed up at all. And
Yep.
Mateo's probably like packing, being like, it's fine. Who cares? Who cares? I was trying to like go to
Where's
sleep.
my emotional support boyfriend?
It's fine. Okay. Those were good rolls.
Huh.
Damn. Okay. So I got a 10 and a 9, which are the highest I could possibly get. This is impressive.
All right.
It is pretty good for me too, because I'm still injured from the fight we did this morning with the clay monster.
Yeah. Yeah. You guys were joking about like, oh, you're gonna have to fight something. No, you guys have not recovered from that first battle.
Nope.
No.
So I have an actual night's sleep. Okay. I'm good.
You do.
Never mind. Everything I've
The rest
prepared
of us?
is for naught.
Yeah. I think, yeah.
Oh, Rami's not coming? Honk schnoo, it's fine.
Yeah, Mateo, after the events of, this morning, after spending the full day getting prepared and studying for the journey to come and packing and seeing your mom tear the house apart, by the time your head hits the pillow, you are physically and mentally exhausted. And for the first time in what feels like a long time, you have a genuinely good night's sleep. So you just conk out after this full day. Sildra, I need you to make that Constitution saving throw. You're camped out, probably in Mamori's room like the last time you guys had a sleepover. You got your bedding on the floor, your stuff all packed away and ready to go for tomorrow morning. Go ahead and give me that morning roll, or that Constitution saving throw.
A 12.
12 out of 20, huh?
Mm-hmm.
On a 12, Sildra, It's not a dreamless sleep. It's not a nightmare. But the stresses of what is to come keep it from being easy sleep. The recurring vision of Harth petrifying, going from a brilliant sparkling green to an unsettling amber-hued petrified wood state, has gotten unfortunately familiar for you. The twist this time, as you see this cycle happen again and again, is that this time you see people in the town. Up to this point, it's been unpopulated, empty, eerily so, as though you were seeing a toy version of the town being turned to stone night after night. But this time there are people. You see Palace in the fields, and she looks up at you, and she gives a grin and a wave as her body turns from its warm, overly tidy self to a cold stone, unmoving version.
So, Sildra wakes up from this dream with a scream caught in their throat. They don't verbalize anything, but they can feel it choking them. And as soon as they have their bearings, they looked around the room and felt the sheets and confirmed that it was just a dream. They grabbed that note that they got the other night and hold it as tight as they can.
It's morning. It is the dawn of a new day. Birds are singing. The sun is just starting to peek up over the foothills as you all get ready to start your next journey.
Story Hoard is produced by Grace, Maddie, Margaret, and Kev. Our theme song was written and composed by Vocal Outburst. Follow for updates and artwork on Twitter and Tumblr at StoryHoardPod, or visit our website at storyhoard.card.co. You can find all these links and more in the description of this episode.
Don't need to have Hiram show up and ask for leeches.
I was listening back to that when I was editing. I had started editing, I think, a few weeks back, and I've started leaving notes for myself in the document file. I got to one timestamp that was just labeled Hiram can't read in all caps. And I'm like, huh? And then I re-listened to that bit. I'm like, oh my god. I'm done with Hiram. I need to put him in a box.
No, you need to bring him back.
We need to know more about him now.
If he had stolen something or created some sort of conflict, it would have been fine. But his literal is a story enigma. I'm not exactly sure what it was or what he's doing. It's he's
I love that about him.
He's the hero of his own story, you know? He's not concerned with the end of the world.
This is all going to be foreshadowing for when he helps us at the very end.
It's true.
He's the liminal.
He will either help us defeat the final boss or will become it.
The true monarch.
quit.
I need a new body. Sam, hire him. Steals his body.
You can't have Heidi. That's Silder's friend.
I can finally read.
Oh my
I
god.
can't read.
That's how we trap the monarch. So we can put him in a body that can't read.
I can't make these new glyphs and spells. I can't enact my plan because this guy's illiterate.